I think it's about time we finally go back into something regular show related. It's been quite a time since I've done something regular show related. The live streams don't really count because it's not really talking about the show, just merely talking about the character from the show. I feel that I want to start talking about regular shows so I can get regular show stuff back in here, and also to get the remaining things that still need to be shown on YouTube. Episode comparisons. I want to do regular show for this one because two in particular have a really same kind of purpose. Replacements, hiring, Roger Craig Smith voices, and them working hard. Those two sound familiar. Temp check and replaced. Because I'm skipping over Q Bros. Q Bros doesn't really count. It just tried to do replaced it, but did it horribly wrong. And Q Bros is by far one of the worst episodes of regular show. Not the worst, but a really, really bad boo-boo that I don't want to talk about. Let's start off with Temp check, because for many people who know me would want to go jump right to replace because Jeremy's in it. No. This formula is going to be completely different. Replace was season 3. Temp check was season 2. I'm going to go in season patterns, rotation back and forth to the episodes. So I'm going to do it in order instead. Now, temp check is basically Rigby trying to hire a temp so that way they could do his work for him, which then leads to Doug the River Otter. I know he hired other people, but they were pyrotechnics and the guy had a harmonica that did his own thing, but this is Doug we're talking about. Doug, this guy, whatever, animal, says that he wants to become somebody and he'll do whatever he can in order to accomplish his goal, which in this case, copy Rigby and become him as well. From using his own haircut to lifting up his tail to having black rings around his eyes, which eventually leads to an all-out brawl, and then confusion over who's the real Rigby. Doug being the first reference to Pokemon because he's like Ditto, who could transform into whoever and copy whatever. Instead of stats, he does all that Rigby does. He's horrible at video games, he can't punch hard, and he's equally lazy. And he was the one that answered most of the questions right in the quiz. Yeah, Temp check really's got some really big competition with Replaced. Replaced, on the other hand, Benson hires 2 new workers to see if they could be better than Mordecai and Rigby, which in turn they are because they agreed to doing the job. That's what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be the opposite of Mordecai and Rigby. They're supposed to do their jobs better. Which leads to Benson wanting to hire them. Then Mordecai and Rigby have to do the sabotage route in order to save their jobs. And if throwing a pizza party is not enough, what will they do? That's Replaced in a nutshell. Now, also, you're going to notice right away that I'm about to say it, and I will say right now. Roger Craig Smith. He voiced both of the characters. He voiced Doug, then he voiced Chad and Jeremy. Both of which are anthropomorphic animals and have goals. Which I'm not really sure about Chad and Jeremy because they're just working. It's just Doug who wants to become somebody who became Rigby. I don't really want to talk that much about Replaced because, come on, everybody knows about Replaced. And even if I gave a lot of detail, I'm pretty sure this one is going to, be the prequel to the episode. It may be non-canon, but this could show what happened before the episode I meant. It dives into a lot of detail as well as adding original characters to the script. And this is the original prototype. The characters got redesigned. Ione did, so, we'll go to Jeremy the movie another day. Just read it on DeviantArt. So, now we come to what is different about these episodes. Now, even if these two are very similar, there are a few things that kind of make it different. Well, Doug is supposed to be copying Rigby. He's supposed to be copying Rigby everything he does. What's different about Chad and Jeremy is they just follow whatever they say, what their boss says, without any complaints or anything. They agree, and they have different opinions. Bless their hipsters and everything like that. I mean, if anyone who watched Replace already knows that Chad and Jeremy are hipsters, and once again, if you just, guys, if you really want to know and read something worth your time that is Jeremy related, just please read this one. Read this at all costs, because you don't know what you're missing. Once you read this, you're probably going to read this more times. I keep bringing up JTM because this is an absolute prequel. Most of the stuff in Replaced happens in Jeremy the movie. I mean, there's no sabotage, but some things in between come into play. I'm kind of bringing up JTM because, well, it does have Jeremy in it because, duh, his name is in the movie. It's Jeremy the movie for a reason. Alright, enough gab. Now, let's see what's really different about these episodes. So besides the whole hiring thing, it's not quite the same. I mean, like I said, Temp Check is where Doug tries to be like Rigby and then copies every single move, and Chad and Jeremy just need to clean the paddle boats, and Mordecai and Rigby need to sabotage. They don't copy Mordecai and Rigby. They have a little similarities to both Mordecai and Rigby, but they're more of their own kind of character. There's nothing really similar about them other than Jeremy saying dude like 2 times in the episode, like how Mordecai does. There's not really anything, well, yeah, Chad also going, in the end, but that's just about it. They don't copy Mordecai and Rigby. They don't do that. That's kind of what's different about Replaced, because even if it's got the same formula as Temp Check, it's a completely different episode. Temp Check basically, like I said before, has Doug trying to pretend to be Rigby, and then the park guys need to find out who's the real Rigby, while Replaced is just basically Mordecai and Rigby trying to save their jobs and throwing a pizza party in order as their final attempt to stop it, while also unleashing lake monsters from the lake. Just this part alone makes it sound awesome. But now we come to what is supposed to be better. So which is better, Temp Check or Replaced? That's kind of gonna be... Oh yeah, let's not forget the flaws. Because these episodes, as much as I like them, there is one that is very flawed. I don't see that many flaws in Temp Check, but Replaced has more flaws out of Temp Check. Like animation errors and the lip syncing, it's just really bad. I mean, you watch Replaced, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's just atrocious. I'm not saying the whole episode, but you know that part where Rigby says, "But Benson," Mordecai's also saying it, but we don't hear J.G. Quintel's voice inside Mordecai. The lip syncing right there is bad. I know it's a tiny little nitpick, but it's near the end of the episode, and when you know when the episode's about to end, it kind of makes it literally almost destroy the part. So bad lip syncing near the end is one of the big flaws, as well as minor animation errors and you-know-who's tail that's not in a frame. And also, I noticed something. Only a few people who have seen this episode have never pointed this out, but this must be addressed. I never said this before, but when watching Replaced, I realized that Jeremy's tail is in the wrong places. Literally. If you watch the episode, his tail's either up or down or somewhere else, like, it's not really supposed to be there and it doesn't feel like it's attached. Just that part alone literally destroys it, and that's sad because also that's Jeremy related. Temp Check doesn't really have that many flaws, but Replaced does. I don't know what to say. In choosing which one is the best, out of the replacement episodes, I'm gonna have to say Replaced is definitely the winner. I mean, Temp Check, don't get me wrong, Temp Check is a good episode, but I just didn't like how Doug was trying to imprint on Rigby, like, like impersonate him and do impressions and stuff like that, and also trying to turn into him and replace him and do his job. That's just wrong. I almost said imprinted because that he literally looked right into Rigby and he knew exactly what he was gonna do. Like, I knew from once he started doing all that stuff, like I knew from that impression, oh no, he's gonna be bad. And also, Doug is considered an antagonist for that episode. Temp Check, he's the bad guy. And in Replaced, C and J are not antagonists. They're still characters, but I can't say if they're minor or background, because they only get like a total of 6 minutes screen time. 6 minutes screen time. And I don't know why they call them antagonists. I mean, they really didn't do nothing wrong, and they were only just doing that because Betson told them to. They had no idea that they were going to replace Mordecai and Rigby. They're not the true villains. Doug is the villain, while Chad and Jeremy are not. I felt like I wanted to put that in there because with it being related to Replaced, for a fact that that's going to win. And Replaced is one of my favorites of season 3, but it's not number 1. As if you don't remember, that's number 2, and Replaced is not the best of season 3. Excellent is the best. I just think Excellent did a lot more than what Replaced did. Like, this was a hard thing to do. It was so close to not being chosen, but it certainly doesn't escape because I just think it's a really good episode. There's no escaping it if it's Jeremy, because I'm trying to get back to liking Jeremy a lot more and doing more stuff about him. With no minions or Gyro Gearloose in the way, I felt like this is Jeremy's time to get back in the spotlight. And since his episode, I'm gonna say his episode because that was his first appearance. And also he was the first one to speak in the episode, so you may call it a Chad and Jeremy episode, but to me it's a Jeremy episode. Next episode I'm going to be talking about a SpongeBob episode next to a regular show one. Space Race and Demolition Doofus. Who is going to win that round? Who knows?